At the start of the story, a new teacher named Smith is introduced as he teaches his class. As he turns toward the blackboard, a boy named Ty throws a crumpled piece of paper at him. Smith instantly notices it, catches the paper, and throws it straight back at Ty's face. The entire class is left in shock by his reaction. Enraged, Ty rushes forward to attack Smith. Smith easily overpowers him without any effort. Moments later, another student named Riggs stands up. Riggs is holding a weapon in his hand. When Riggs refuses to hand it over, Smith swiftly twists his fingers and takes the weapon from him. The students quickly realize that challenging Smith will come at a heavy price. The classroom falls completely silent, as if fear has gripped everyone at once. Smith firmly takes control of the class and calmly resumes teaching. It is revealed that Smith was once a military intelligence officer. His real name is Jonathan Shell. Shell and his team were assigned a highly classified mission and carried it out successfully. However, reporters somehow uncovered details about the operation. To protect their image, the government denied involvement and shifted the blame onto the soldiers. Officials claimed the team acted on their own and were paid to stay silent. As a result, Shell was quietly removed from military service to avoid further scrutiny. The story then shifts to Shell's wife, Jane, in their hometown. Jane works as a high school teacher and is dedicated to her profession. One day, while she is teaching calmly, a disturbance breaks out on the school grounds. Several students are violently attacking a single boy. Jane and another teacher, Sherman, rush in to stop the fight. Sherman manages to break it up and rescues the injured boy. Jane confronts the student responsible for organizing the attack. The boy, Lucas, is a feared leader of a gang known as the Kings of Destruction. Jane tries to reason with him, explaining that his actions are wrong. Lucas ignores her words and instead threatens her. He warns her to stay out of his matters or face consequences. After issuing the threat, he storms away in anger. Jane and Mr. Sherman immediately report the incident to the principal. They demand the strictest punishment against Lucas for threatening teachers. The principal refuses to act, stating there is no solid proof. Furious, Jane leaves the office and vows to gather evidence herself. Later, as Jane reaches her car, she finds Lucas's gang surrounding it. They have blocked the keyhole with a sticky substance. Jane struggles to unlock the car while the boys mock her. Eventually, the door opens and she manages to leave safely. When Jane arrives home, her husband Shell is waiting for her. Seeing him after so long fills her with relief and happiness. Shell tells Jane that he has officially been discharged from the army. After that, the two of them began talking about their future. Jane felt uncertain about what Shell would do next. The following morning, Jane went out for a jog along the beach. She had no idea that a member of Luck's gang was already waiting for her. As soon as Jane came close, the boy attacked her with a stick. Fortunately, Shell was nearby at that moment. He heard the commotion and rushed to save Jane. Shell immediately took her to the hospital for treatment. At the hospital, Jane told Shell that the attackers were students from her school. Shell saw how frightened his wife was and promised her that he would protect her. He also swore that the people responsible for this attack would be punished. Shell then decided to go undercover as a teacher to eliminate the problem from within the school. He began preparing for his new mission. He changed his identity and took the name Jane Smith. Using this new name, he filled out a job application at the same school. There, he met the principal in person. The principal politely explained that the position would only be temporary. Shell calmly replied that it was not an issue and that he would perform his duties well. While accepting the job, Shell remained focused on his real objective. His true mission was to uncover who had planned the attack on Jane. On his first day at school, Shell entered the classroom and was stunned by what he saw. The students were extremely unruly and out of control. Their behavior was so chaotic that the room hardly resembled a classroom. When Shell stepped forward to take attendance, the situation became even clearer. None of the students showed any interest in studying. It felt as if they had never been taught discipline or basic manners. Later, Jane Smith met Mr. Sherman again in the staff room. Sherman introduced her to the school librarian, Dylan. During their discussion, Sherman mentioned a student whose gang was extremely dangerous. He explained that the gang had taken over the school by intimidating everyone. Jane suspected that the principal might be involved with them. Sherman immediately objected and said the principal was a former police officer. He insisted that such involvement was impossible. Despite this, Smith became more suspicious after hearing the conversation. Later that day, while speaking with the principal, Smith noticed several odd details. One thing that stood out was the gold Rolex watch on the principal's wrist. The watch was far too expensive to be purchased on a principal's salary. Smith intentionally asked a few sharp questions to test the principal's reaction. The principal responded coldly and told him to focus on teaching instead of personal matters. That evening, Smith reunited with his former military teammates. These were the same men who had been expelled from the army along with him. They had arrived at Smith's request. Smith instructed them to quietly monitor the school. One of his teammates, Holland, said he did not want to get involved in hidden operations. However, the rest of the team agreed to help. The next day, while Smith was teaching, history repeated itself. A crumpled paper was thrown again, just like the incident at the beginning of the story. After being humiliated by Smith in front of the class, Reary Guest stormed out. He went straight to the principal and reported everything that had happened. The principal immediately ordered the security guard Marvin to go to Smith's class. When Marvin arrived, he was shocked to see all the students sitting quietly and studying. Marvin reported this to the principal, leaving him completely astonished. astonished. The principal then decided to wait until the class ended. During the lesson, Smith spoke openly with the students. The students began sharing their past experiences with him. Lucas suddenly asked his new teacher if he had ever been attacked with a knife. Some students then showed Smith the scars on their bodies. This was clearly an attempt to frighten and intimidate him. A few days later, Smith was reviewing footage from the school's CCTV cameras. He noticed the principal walking toward his room. Smith quickly shut his laptop and behaved as if nothing was unusual. As soon as the principal entered, he told Smith that some students were trying to have him removed from the school. He demanded that Smith apologize to them for his actions. Smith firmly refused to apologize. The principal angrily said that such behavior would not be tolerated. He ordered Smith to leave the school immediately. Smith calmly reminded him that the contract required a 2-week notice. Smith's confidence made the principal suspicious. He realized that Smith was not an ordinary teacher. The principal ordered a background check on Smith's credentials. The investigation revealed that all of Smith's documents were fake. Every record connected to him had been forged. The next day, while Smith was teaching, Lucas and his friends entered the classroom late. They were trying to provoke and humiliate Smith. When Smith stopped them, Lucas sarcastically apologized. Smith coldly ordered him to write the word sorry 10 times on the blackboard. Lucas refused to stand up from his seat. Smith then increased the punishment and told him to write it 100 times instead. Realizing Smith would not back down, Lucas finally gave in. To ease the tension, Smith shifted the conversation. He began asking each student about their dreams and future goals. He spoke about choosing the right path in life. His words made the students feel that he truly cared about them. Many of them became emotional, as if they were seeing hope for the first time. After the class ended, the principal suddenly walked in. He praised Smith for handling the class so well. He then asked Smith to come to his office for a discussion. However, the principal had already planned something sinister. He intended to have Lucas help him kill Smith. What they did not realize was that Smith was already aware of their plan. He had seen their secret meeting on the CCTV cameras. Fully prepared, Smith went to the library wearing a bulletproof jacket. He waited silently for them to arrive. Lucas and the principal's hired men soon followed. The moment they entered, Smith attacked without hesitation. Using his combat skills, he knocked down the goons one by one. He then began throwing them out of the window. Suddenly, one of the gang members grabbed Smith's gun. Without wasting a moment, he fired and shot Smith. Lucas ordered him to kill the librarian and escape. As he aimed his weapon at the librarian, Smith suddenly proved that he was still alive. Smith overpowered him and threw him out of the window, straight into his waiting friends below. As Smith climbed down the building, the principal saw him and was completely stunned. The principal immediately began acting innocent, pretending he knew nothing. Smith also behaved as if nothing unusual had happened. This left the principal deeply shaken. He wondered how a man could remain calm after shots had been fired and chaos had erupted around him. Meanwhile, Mr. Sherman went to visit Jane at her home. While speaking with her, he noticed a photograph of Jane with her husband. Looking closely, he said that the man in the picture was the new teacher at their school. At the same time, Smith's teammates were secretly monitoring the gang. One of them followed Lucas closely and kept Smith updated on his movements. That evening, when Smith returned home, he sensed trouble. Jane had already learned the truth. She told him that Sherman had revealed everything to her. With nothing left to hide, Smith admitted that something was terribly wrong at her school. He explained that even the principal was working with the gang. Smith then made it clear that he was ready to go to any length to protect the students. Smith's team continued carrying out their mission efficiently. Joey contacted Smith and asked him to come to the port. He suspected that a major drug deal involving Lucas's gang was about to take place. They waited patiently until nightfall. At the right moment, they ambushed the gang members and caught them completely off guard. Smith pointed his gun at them, ordered them to lie down, and disarmed them. While Smith restrained some of the criminals, Joey moved in to handle the others. Suddenly, Holan, an old friend of Smith, appeared at the scene. At first, it seemed as if Holan was working with the gang. He aimed a gun at Smith and forced him into a fight with a powerful thug. The thug was much stronger than Smith. Even so, a brutal fight broke out between them. The thug attacked again and again. In the end, Smith struck him in the neck and followed up with a heavy kick, knocking him to the ground. Impressed by Smith's determination, Holan laughed and spoke to him with respect. Moments later, the thug charged at Smith once more. Holan shot the thug and saved Smith's life. Together, they threw all the drugs into the river. They took the money and escaped from the area. The next morning, the principal watched the news at home. The report showed a massive drug seizure at the riverbank. While he was still processing this, he received a call from the drug lord, Chrono. Chrono threatened him and demanded payment for the lost shipment. The principal was terrified. Later, he arrived at school in panic and confronted Lucas. He demanded to know how everything had gone wrong. Lucas told him that Smith was responsible for it all. This time, Smith chose not to hide anymore. He openly announced to the entire school that he would use the seized money to improve the school. He even promised to throw a pizza party for all the students. At that moment, the principal arrived and openly threatened to fire Smith. However, Smith had already won the hearts of everyone. All the students were happy, and Sherman was ready to stand by Smith. Smith warned him to stay out of it and said that the principal was also working with the enemy. He explained that these people were extremely dangerous. Despite this, Sherman still believed the principal was an honest man. That very night, Smith became a target once again. 2 gang members followed him in a car. When they found the right moment, they opened fire on him. Smith lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a house. The accident was so severe that everyone believed Smith had died. Soon after, Sherman discovered gang members packing drugs in the school basement. He realized this was his chance to collect solid evidence. Before he could escape, the principal noticed his shadow and chased him. Sherman was not alone and was accompanied by his student, Layla. He told Layla to hide and promised to distract the gang members. He instructed her to inform Smith about everything, no matter what happened to him. Sherman tried desperately to escape. Eventually, the principal and his men surrounded him. The principal personally shot Sherman and killed him. Layla secretly witnessed the entire incident. At the first chance she got, she ran to tell her friend what had happened. The next day, news spread throughout the school that Smith had died in the accident. The students were completely heartbroken. Suddenly, Smith walked into the school alive. Everyone was stunned to see him. His expression was filled with sadness. The gang members were frozen in shock. Later, Smith went to meet a teacher named Wolfson. Smith had strong evidence that Wolfson was involved in drug trafficking. He warned Wolfson to stop destroying the lives of children. Smith urged him to help put an end to the operation. Wolfson refused to cooperate. Seizing the moment, Smith isolated him and forced him to reveal inside information. Meanwhile, the gang made a dangerous move. They attacked Jane's house. Breaking through a window, they held Jane hostage at gunpoint. At the same time, Layla arrived with her friend to tell Smith the truth about Sherman's death. The gang members captured them as well. Smith returned home shortly after. He sensed that something was wrong. Pretending to be helpless, he suddenly attacked the gang members. However, they outnumbered him. The gang eventually managed to capture Smith. Lucas informed his boss about everything over the phone. Chrono ordered them to kill everyone immediately to protect the drug operation. Just then, the doorbell rang. Jane's landlady was standing outside. Lucas told Jane to send the old woman away using any excuse. Jane did exactly that. At that moment, Smith saw his chance. He stabbed the nearby gangster in the leg. Smith stood up again and began killing the goons one by one. Lucas pointed his gun at Jane and warned Smith to drop his weapon if he wanted her to stay alive. With no other choice, Smith threw his gun to the ground. Lucas grabbed Jane and prepared to escape while planning to finish Smith. At that moment, Layla's friend picked up a gun and shot Lucas. With Lucas down, all the remaining goons were eliminated. Smith had wiped them out completely. They loaded the bodies into a car and delivered them to the principal. This was Smith's clear declaration of war. He then prepared for a full-scale assault on the school with his entire team. Soon, the school turned into a battlefield. Bullets tore through walls from every direction. The thugs were many, but Smith and his team were trained commandos. They were not amateurs. Using precise tactics, they eliminated the enemies one by one. A short while later, Holan managed to capture the drug lord Chrono. Just as he was about to arrest him, the principal shot Holan from behind. The principal then hid with Chrono and waited for Smith to arrive. Before entering, Smith cleverly cut off the lights. He launched a sudden attack in the darkness. However, he was fighting alone against 2 men. While Smith struggled with the principal, Chrono shot him in the shoulder from behind. Before Chrono could kill him, he was shot in the shoulder. A dying Holan fired the shot and killed Chrono to save his friend. Now only Smith and the principal remained. The principal attacked Smith from behind with a fire extinguisher. Smith's gun fell to the ground. The principal quickly picked it up, but the gun was empty. Smith then killed the principal with his own hands. The school was finally free from this thug's control. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.